Hi, Stoughton. This is Steve Cavey, Selectman for the town of Stoughton. Today is January 14, 2020. So we're in 2020 now. Um, so tonight we had a relatively long meeting, a normal length meeting, but the agenda was very small, so I'm just going to go over it very quickly. This is going to be probably one of the shortest videos I'm ever going to do, but I highly recommend you actually watch to the extent that you're able to, the full meeting, which is down below, and there's going to be a link to the SMAC video, along with an agenda, and there's an anonymous suggestion box if you want to drop me some notes. You'll see those down below in the description. So we had executive session. We started off with that. It was very short. It was just, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can read it from the agenda down below, but it's essentially like a union contract component. So it's just, unfortunately, the description is very long. It's going to be half the video if I read it. But essentially, it's just with respect to collective bargaining with our various unions. So then we opened up. We had citizens' requests. Started off with the call to order, pledge of allegiance, citizens' requests, town manager reports, selectmen comments. Kept those pretty brief. The bulk of the meeting was actually a joint meeting with the school committee, and they were presenting their fiscal 2021 budget, and so I really, as I said, highly recommend you just watch that video because they did a great job. They're working very hard to stay within the means of the town, and at the same time really fulfill an important obligation that they have to the community. So it was really wonderful. They opened up for questions as well, so we asked some questions. At the end of the day, though, I think we're all working pretty concertedly to cooperate, to work together, to fulfill the requirements for both the municipal government and our requirements for the schools. I just want to thank the school committee for their work putting together, and Dr. Marcus for laying out a budget that is extremely responsible and realistic. It probably doesn't give them everything they want, but they made some very thoughtful compromises, and so anyway, enough puffing them up. They do a great job. We have an amazing school committee, but I thank them all, and also our superintendent's great. Dr. Grimm's also been doing a great job working with the school committee and with the superintendent to be able to open up the budgeting conversation. As I mentioned in my last video, we did run into a little bit of a gap between the schools and the town. That was really more of a function of, I believe, if I understand it correctly, of the revenue numbers, the revenue projections that were being used to arrive at budget numbers. And so the schools and the town took sort of followed different paths on that, and it leaves us right now with sort of a deficit or a gap, I'll just call it, between what the town, it's hard to describe, but essentially like what the school budget would be per the schools, and then also like what is sort of left over after the town carves out a section based on their own budgets. Both are so slim that at this point, if anything gets cut, there's gonna be some serious ramifications for both the town and the school. So nobody really wants to dive too deeply into making any additional cuts, because those are probably going to be personnel cuts. Probably going to have to lay people off. Nobody wants to do that. So both sides kind of felt like they reached the number, but because of this difference in revenue projections, there's like a slight gap. Not a big deal. It's actually very small. I mean, it's more than I make in a year, but I shouldn't say. I mean, small is a relative thing. So I think it's like $450,000 or $470,000. It's a lot of money in sort of these from a personal perspective. But given the gaps that we've had to cover in the past, of I think it was 1.2 last year that we had to somehow find with really there's like no hope of us finding. Somehow we were able to find it through a lot of creativity. So this I think we could do. We also have some since our revenue projections are really based on a lot of state estimates of revenues coming in from the state. I think some of those numbers are going to be coming in either as actuals or as when we get, for example, our state revenue. We have projected what we think the state's going to offer. I think that next week we're going to start getting actually numbers from the state house. That's going to have to work its way through several layers, right? It's going to House, the representatives of the Senate. There's going to be like all sorts of back and forth and changing that. Sometimes we don't get those numbers until pretty late, but we'll start to see something that resembles like an actual proposed budget versus us just sort of speculating on what it would be based on last year's times some sort of factor. So we'll get some more concrete information, and honestly, at that point, the gap might just fill itself. But if it doesn't, then we'll come up with other ways. The one thing that I to mention in the meeting, I'm going to mention now, is that between now and the beginning of town meeting, which is in May, these are going to be very turbulent times for the budget, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. As these numbers come in, sometimes we budget very conservatively, or we project very conservatively. So oftentimes, that's why I think these gaps are usually filled up. But at the same time, we are sometimes astonished at a number that comes in. We just did not expect a drop in something, and it hits us, and we kind of scramble to find it. But we have two groups, Board of Selectmen and the school committee, who are really adamant about making sure that the entire town is given the resources they need. So we want to see the schools funded. We want to see all the municipal departments funded to the levels that are being requested by those departments right now. So we'll work to make it happen. Anyway, I've gone longer. I said this was going to be a short one. It's not that short. So I'm gonna hop off now. There was also just a very quick section at the end of the meeting, maybe 3 minutes, just to discuss quickly the pathway forward for the 2020 annual town meeting. And that was just at the very end, but that was short. Anyway, so watch the meeting. This was really a key one to put some attention into. The budgets are you learn really a lot about your community by looking at the budgets, and we seem to be in pretty good shape overall. We'll bridge this gap and make it happen. Thank you very much for allowing me really the honor of being a selectman for the town. This has been just a wonderful experience for me. I'm thrilled that I was given this opportunity, and I certainly hope to be able to do it again. But we'll see how next year plays out. Hopefully you guys think I'm doing okay too. But we'll as I said, we'll soon find out. Thank you very much. Anyway, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys here next week. Take care. Bye-bye.